Ever heard the phrase, like a monkey on a stick? This is what it comes from. It was a toy that was very popular in Europe about 100 years ago. This is simply made out of dowling. It's a little jointed monkey, and you poke a stick, which I've made out of a piece of plastic water pipe, and it turns somersaults and does acrobatics, and you can make them more complex than that. But that, although it's simple, is probably a bit hard for some of you to make with tools and things. So here's another version, looks pretty well as good, and uses very simple things, particularly drinking straws. This is what it looks like. Cardboard monkey, drinking straw, handles. Let's make it do the same sort of thing. There we are, a monkey on a stick, and one that you can make yourself. Well, let's see how it's done. First of all, it's important to get straws that are like this. One's a drinking straw, the other is a thick shake straw, and the thin one slides inside the thick very easily. We'll come back to those, but you must have those, and plastic is stronger than paper. Let's put them to one side. The figure's easily made. Cut it out of cardboard as thick as you can cut with scissors, and make holes so that you can joint the whole thing together. That's the body of my little ape. Those are, well, that is the leg, and that's the arm. And I use a paper punch to get those holes, like this, because it makes nice clean holes. But you can, if you haven't got a paper punch, you can use sharp scissors. Just try and leave the holes as clean as you can, otherwise it's a bit messy when it moves. You join it together with those split pin fasteners. I've already done that, and you can see that poking him through from that side and turning him over loosely will leave you with a monkey that's very loosely jointed, and that's important. If you want it a bit neater, you can poke him through from the other side and stick tape over the legs, and that's what I've done on the horse. You can see they're coming through from the other side and covered over here with the tape which I've painted, and you really can't see where they've been, at least not terribly clearly. Or, if you want to sew them, that's another method too. This is a very lightweight cardboard figure, and I've simply stitched through the shoulders and the hips. If I turn it around, you can see that, and covered the thread, stuck it down so I don't have to knot it with bits of tape, and I can colour that, and he works pretty well too. Anything which makes loose joints and isn't too knobbly, because the knobbles will catch. And in fact, this is a big problem with these sticks, because as you're poking the legs up past the shoulder, things can catch very easily. So if I turn it around, have a look at another important thing. When I put the pin on to join the shoulders, I put in a little washer of straw. That makes a gap between the body and the shoulder, and the legs slide up through it. So before you stick on those shoulders, cut a washer out of the thickest straw you can, the one that won't go through the hole, and put it between the shoulder and the body, and that'll keep the gap just where you want it. Well, how do you join it to the sticks? Very simply. Lie it down, stretched out, and you're going to stick the hands to the thinner straw, and you're going to stick the feet to the thicker one. But you have to do something to the thicker straw first. You have to split it down the middle, because otherwise it won't slide up past the hands. Well, you measure off a distance as long as your puppet, and these straws are very easy to split because they've got guiding lines all the way down. White line there I've cut with my scissors, turn it over, finish it off on this side, and just cut one of those sections off. Here we go, like that. And that's going to be the outer handle. But let's first of all fix it to the inner handle before we do that. Well, I prefer sewing here. You can't use split pins because the straws aren't thick enough, and you can't use many things because they're knobbly, but string or cotton isn't. So you make a hole ready for your needle right at the fingertips, poke the needle through. I'd use one a bit thinner than the one I'm using here, but this is good for showing you. Poke it through there, and then poke it through the straw right at the top. And there it goes, and that's good. You can pull the thread through, and once it is through, just bring it round and tie a knot. I've made this rather long, but you can see if I hold it up like that, tying a knot here, reasonably tight, but not so much that it distorts the plastic, will do the job. I'll just do one knot there, a couple to secure it, and finish that off. And cut those threads away, and I think we've got the hands securely tied on there. That's it, little character hanging down there. Now you have to do the same with the feet, but you put them onto this half bit of straw. And make sure that the half bit of straw is poking towards the puppet, and before you sew them on, squash that top of the blue part. Squash it in. That'll make it easy to sew, and it'll make it stronger. Well, you then decorate the puppet, and it'll come up like this, the one that you saw. There we are, sewn onto the thin straw at the hands. You can see the thicker part, the half straw, is squashed flat, and the feet are sewn onto that. so that when I slide the thin straw inside the thick, you can see what happens. The blue part, the thicker straw, can slide those feet up beyond the hands and make it do its wonderful gymnastics. The trouble is, the straws are not giving me enough to hold on to down the bottom with the white one. So just to finish off, get another thin straw, split its top, squeeze it, and shove it into the first one to make a sort of telescope. Then you have a nice long handle, and by operating this, you have your own monkey on a stick.